All right, we are now live. So, hello everyone. This is Mark, Sir MC 2015, and this is going to be something different. So, before I get started into what we're going to be talking about, I want to help. In which case, we're going to be talking about one of the new books coming out, which is literally Ninth Age working on a book, start to finish. A lot of it is directly from the Ninth Age, and I'm going to be joined by someone, SnarkHunter, from the forums. I'm going to let him introduce himself here in just a moment. But I want to remind everyone about the North American Masters. They are going to be happening the weekend of the 20th. It's going to be the 18th, 19th, 20th. And it's going to have a one-day qualifier if you did not get an invite. And all the invites have been sent out, and all of them have been received for who's coming. So you know who you are. So if you want to try to make U.S. Masters, if you think you're one of the best, show up on Friday, and you may have a chance to be able to enter the North American Masters. Now, let's say you enter and you are unable to actually play because you don't score high enough to participate. We are actually having another tournament go on. So no matter what, you're going to be participating in a tournament, and that tournament will be Grail Quest. If you go to the descriptions under here, I will go ahead and I will add links to them as soon as this conversation is over. So meanwhile, I have on the line right now SnarkHunter from the forums. He is rules advisory, and he and I, we work together. We've played together. First time I think is it okay if I say your first name?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. His name's Shan. First time I remember meeting Shan was actually at a tournament. Had no idea who he was. All I know is that all the other players that were there pretty much revered him and said, I don't want to play him. I don't care what else happens. I don't want to play him. And they said it because not maliciously or anything else. It's just they knew that he was going to, like, he's that good of a player and he was going to stop him. And I'm like, well, who is he? And actually, I played him, I think it was Mountain Mayhem. I've only played you one time, and he stopped me, but good. He stopped me in 19-1 against my dwarves when I was doing really, really well with them. So he is an extremely special player. Obviously, he's on the rules team. And today we're going to be talking about the new Daemon Legions book that's going to be coming out in hopefully very soon. So, Shannon, if you don't mind introducing yourself and take it away.
Well, hi everybody. I'm Shannon. On the forum, I go by SnarkHunter, and I've been working with the project for almost a year. I spent some time on the balance team. I've worked on several of the Army book development teams, working with the teams who've been updating books like Ogre Cons, Orcs and Goblins, Beast Herds, and Kingdom of Equitane. I've also moved over to the rules team and have been working there for the last few updates and trying to help bring the project up to gold, and working with the new Warriors book and the new Demons book, which we're excited to talk about releasing soon.
Absolutely. And with, I believe gold just dropped too. I mean, that's what I just last saw. And so this is actually goes hand in hand. Now, for those of you who are, again, going back to the Masters real quick, we will not be utilizing at this immediate moment because we still have to decide on it. But at this immediate moment, we will not be using the new book that will be coming out. It is what is currently available as of today. So with that said, I do have a couple of questions regarding this, the Demon book. And please know this is going to be a taste. It's not, we have a very strict leak policy. So, and Shannon is is one of the best to monitor himself. So please be aware of that. But this definitely does give you an idea as to what to expect and what's coming out. So Shannon, there are greater demons. I mean, I have a demon army. With the Warriors of the Dark Gods, they introduced 7 new gods. What changes should we expect to the greater demons?
So in the new demon book, there's going to be 7 greater demons to match up to those 7 dark gods. Compared to the previous versions, the new set of greater demons are going to have a lot more variety. They're going to range from various sizes rather than all being gigantic. They're going to have a lot of different utilities beyond just flying beat stick or really good caster. They're all going to have a lot of niche abilities and specialties, and some of them might even have mounted options.
Oh wow. I now I know I was head of play testing. I worked with the on the balancing team with him, and he and I went through several renditions. And I'll just speak for myself: is it's very flavorful. I'm excited personally. So one thing I remember from playing my old demons, and I inherited some models from one of my friends and everything else, and I started tinkering around with them. Is there were aspects. How are the aspects changing with this? So what happened to the aspects?
Okay, so the old aspect system it signified which of the four gods the demon was aligned with, and in the new book, what we've done is we've merged that aspect system with the demonic items to produce like a new expanded list that we're calling demonic manifestations. And these are going to be kind of like special items that each that demons will have a budget to buy, whether it's a character. Some units also have access to these, and they will allow you to greatly customize your army. Um, a lot of the effects are individual, but there's also effects that allow a character to buff whatever unit they join, which in a lot of ways is similar to the old aspects.
That sounds neat. What I saw during playtesting was also very dynamic, so I'm excited about that. What about the core? So usually when with the current core, you have four different main units. What should we expect with this? With the new seven gods, what should we expect with core?
So there will still be four core choices, and they're going to be pretty similar to what you had in the past. I know on the Ninth Age forum, some of the sneak peeks have started coming out from the community support guys, and one of those sneak peeks was one of the core units. So you can go there to check it out. That core unit being the Lemures. That unit is sort of like the new version of the Plague Bearers. Um, and they are very, very tough, very resilient, but they don't have a lot of damage output. That's one example. But in addition, I would say all of the existing core models are represented in a pretty similar manner in the new book. One key difference, though, is that people who enjoyed having a unified army dedicated to a single dark god, you guys will be happy to know that core choices are no longer locked into a specific god, but now they can be developed to represent any of the seven.
Oh, that's great. So what about you mentioned just one thing just now. You mentioned a new unit name, the Lemore. Now I already have what were they called? The Hars and the Tallymen. I've been working on the demonic Cav because Dan, not Dan T, but Dan, the one that looks like a Terminator on the forums, bought me this huge the Kings of War, whatever they're called. But he bought me their demon army, and for me to start converting the models and things like that. So, what about things I've already painted? Do these things still exist?
Well, the team has put a great deal of effort towards keeping all of your existing models to be viable. I would say that this book even builds on that, and that there are going to be some options and some ways to introduce some new models and even encourage you to dust off some of the ones that you might not be using right now. Um, this book, there's a lot of different options for ways to model the various things, and I think that you'll find that you'll be able to put your whole collection to use.
That's great because I know for myself personally, and those people who I know that are a little tentative whenever the Ninth Age starts tinkering with things is, well, I already have this. I already painted this. I know how it functions. This is why I painted it in such a manner. I want to be able to use that. So that's really good news as far as I'm concerned. So, in your opinion, what's the biggest change to the army?
That's a good question, because there's a lot of changes. Uh, in how different things work individually. I would say overall, um, I'd say the biggest change is that the individual units are becoming more specialized. I mean, not to imply that they're not capable. I would say every unit in the book is generally capable, but they all have some special rule or some ability that's more specialized than what you've seen in the past. And that means that when you're at the table playing, y- your chances of victory are going to go up dramatically if you make smart choices on deployment and movement to get those units the matchups that they will work best against. This is going to be an army that emphasizes player skill in that regard, but because it is they're still demons, they still have ward saves and aegis saves and all that. There's still going to be a good deal of resilience there, and I think that's going to be important because it's going to prevent that learning curve from being too steep.
And one thing that you did just discuss, I'm hearing a feedback right now, and I don't know why. All right. Well, anyway, one thing that you just mentioned is that it's going to be deployment base and skill level base. But at the same time, there are some caveats. Now, from someone who has done some play testing with that, is there, even though it is that, as Shannon just described, it is also very manageable, and it's fun to both play and play against. And at no point in time did I ever feel as if I never had a chance, whether I was playing the army or playing against the army. So I want to make sure that that's both said, because it's not like the GW days where the latest army has that I win button. Definitely does not feel that way to me. So
No, I would agree. I think the army has a lot of strong choices. There's a lot of different play styles it can embrace, but I don't think any of them are going to be overwhelming. This is certainly not. This is a book that has a lot of cool and interesting builds that will be competitive, but it won't be. I don't see it dominating the tournament scene immediately. I think good players will be able to do great things with it, and I think average players will be able to have some success as well.
agreed. So with with the changes that are coming to the book, knowing that I can still use the models, what has you most excited about this book?
I'm really excited about this book. I've had a chance recently to proofread the full version, which has all of the background and story and artwork and everything in it. It's really amazing, and I know that when it's released, everyone will have a chance to look at that. I do strongly encourage you, don't just skip to the back of the book where the simple rules are. Take the time to look through the artwork and background because it is top notch. The art team and the background teams did a fantastic job. Um, the book has so many cool units to try out. There's so many different twists you can do with adding manifestations and everything. I think it's going to be really neat to see what some of my local players come up with. I know there are several players for this faction in my local scene, and I'm really curious to see what they come up with at the next tournament.
And you just nailed what has me excited about this book is the background. I think the gentleman's first name is Edward, but Scottish Knight is head of our background team, and I think he and his team did such a tremendous job putting together and giving the seven gods life and purpose and story. Like it's something that you want to turn around and like, oh, this sounds really neat. I want to start using this. How can I? And then you start seeing how the background fits with the rules that have been created. And it's fun and it's tasteful and it's something that gets me saying I want to go play. Because those of you who know me in real life or have seen me posting recently, I've been kind of just staying with my the KOE on a personal note because I've been writing fluff and that's me. This now the new Demons book has that fluff, and the background team, please note, they've been working. I've seen some of the stuff they've been working on. They've been working on a lot, but the stuff that they've done for this and the art team, as you pointed out, Shannon. I wish I was allowed to leak out some art. Unfortunately, we were told we were not allowed, but it's awesome. That's all I can say. Like Marcos 24 and that whole team there. I forget who's head of that team. Do you know who's head of that team?
I'd have to look, not off the top of my head.
Well, they're doing a great job as well. So, is there any story or piece of art for the new book, since we can't show them, that stands out to you that you'd like to share?
Well, like I said, I mean, the bar is pretty high for the story and the art in this book. I mean, I think I think in order, it's going to demonstrate really what the Ninth Age is capable of, and what other armies, not just players of this faction, can expect from their books. Um, the way the book's designed, there's so many cool little excerpts in it, little journal entries from someone commenting about such and such demon, or there's little excerpts from like dark hymnals and grimoires talking about the army and kind of setting the feel and the tone. All of these things are described in vivid imagery. For me, I would say that my favorite part's probably the section on the banners of the Legion, which describes some of the notable demonic armies of the past, which could return again. And I think that that's a thing that'll give players a lot of inspiration for maybe ways to theme or model their own army.
And I completely agree with you. And coming up with like seeing some of that artwork and things like that, and coming up with like, I want to now start painting my army to match that, and having the rules kind of correlate with that, and the story, as you just mentioned about the banners. I mean, I'm excited. That's all I can say is I'm super excited. Well, that's our taster for the new Daemon Legions book, which is going to be coming out soon. I don't believe we're supposed to be saying the release date, are we, Shannon?
All they've publicly said is that the goal is to have it by the end of the year. I can tell you that I think we are on track to meet that goal right now, and I can encourage everybody listening to when you get the book, when it's released, take a couple hours and read it, and don't just skip to the end. Make sure you look through it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, agreed. And as I said, I'm looking forward to it for exactly what Shannon just said. Well, that's all that I have for today. Again, just to mention North American Masters, and that would be at 9th Age North American Masters at WordPress.com. Please sign up or find us on Facebook at 9th Age NA Masters.
Yep, I'll be there. I'm planning to play too.
And again, Shannon's one of those players who I know how good he is. I don't want to play him.
I'm fun to play against.
Oh, you're a blast. I had that. You know what? That was one of the best stompings I have ever had, and I remember having a smile on my face afterwards, and then going, "I should have done this, this, and this." You're like, "Yes, you should have."
If you want to play a game where there's going to be some fighting, and it's then play me, because we're going to get our models into combat.
Oh yeah, dice will be thrown. It's not just the chess match. Dice are definitely thrown. Yeah. Shannon, I'm looking forward to having you up here, and the group that you're coming up with, and hopefully, I'm looking forward to actually hosting quite a bit up here. It's going to be up in Phoenixville, and should be. I know for a fact we have. I know from what I've seen, over 30 players. I want to say it's over 40 players already signed up. But I've been on vacation, so I still have to turn around and go through all the numbers, maybe even closer to 50. So that's what I have for right now. And until next time, happy gaming.